Welcome to the Tiffany Mika podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, this is Tiff from Tiffany Mika podcast and welcome to this week's Lessons Learned. As you know, each week we go through the lessons learned, that whether it's been something that I've picked up or learned about me along the way throughout the week, or it's a conversation that I've had with someone or a client, or something that I've picked up in a conversation where I've just been listening to what people have been talking about and I'm like, that's interesting. So as you know, that's what we do each week. We go through these lessons learned so that it's helping you really think about what it is that you want to achieve, learning from what's going on that's working throughout the week, learning from what's not working, and then we devise strategies and ways in which that we can help ourselves so that we're moving forward. So yesterday, I went in to get my haircut, as you do, go and get your haircut. And I was talking to one of the hairdressers. I've been going there for years, so I know a lot of the hairdressers there. And this particular guy was talking to me about goal setting. And he was saying, I set my goals. I had this really good mentor and she's really spiritual, but what I do is I just set realistic goals, and then I'd break it down, and then I'd, convert it into, little goals and all of that kind of thing. But what really got me was when he was talking about it, because I don't say anything too much. I tend to just listen to people because I'm quite interested in, you learn a lot more from people when you're listening to them versus when you're telling them things. And what really went off, for me, red flags, was I set realistic goals. And I was like, setting realistic goals makes you feel like you want to yawn. It makes you want to feel like, I'll just set this goal because really I can't achieve that goal. Even though I really want that goal, but I've got to be realistic. Let's be practical about it. And I'm like, stuff that. No way do you want to set realistic goals. When you look at the athletes that you follow, the top athletes, and whether it be athletes, whether it be in business, whether it be in acting, whether it be in dancing, whether it be in anything that you see where people achieve some really grand things, they don't set realistic goals. They dream big. Beyond the moon. If you look back at when, 1969, I wasn't born then, but 1969, we landed on the moon. Now, that was a JFK thought, a dream, before he got assassinated. And I was like, yeah, he's dreaming big. They didn't have the technology then on how they were going to get to the moon. They figured out a way. Key point here, they figured out a way to get there, right? And when somebody says to me, I set realistic goals, I'm like, God, what's realistic goals? Is it things that are within your comfort zone? It just didn't make sense to me. He's a lovely, lovely guy, but he was like, realistic goals. I was like, you don't do that. You set the big ones. You set the ones that you feel like that are unattainable. That's what gets the juices flowing. That's what gets you to really strive and giving you that drive to want to accomplish something really big, something that you can be really proud of. Not like, I set my realistic goals and yeah, it was okay. No, it's not on. It's not on. Oh, I don't know how to express myself with this because I'm so frustrated that people will hold themselves back. You've heard my story plenty of times. If you haven't, welcome today. But I had a big dream, didn't accomplish the dream, and I've spoken about that many times, had regrets about the dream. I've got another massive dream that I want now, and I'm not going to set realistic goals. I want something big to happen. Right, I've got these amazing things that I want to happen in my life and our life with my husband and with my family, my parents, my nieces. I want amazing things to happen. I've got these big goals set. Will I make it? You bet I will, because I'm going to be determined to get there. I'm not going to let anything hold me back. I'm not going to let little, small, realistic goals be the thing that defines me. I want these big, audacious goals. And this is what you should want too. If you look at the top athletes, and I refer to tennis a lot because that was especially my sport in the beginning. But you look at the top players, like you look at Serena Williams. Did Serena want to just be a tennis player? No. She wanted to be the best, and she is the best. She's accomplished amazing things. But she had a big dream. That's what she really wanted to accomplish. She didn't know if she was going to get there, but she worked damn hard and kept going until she did. Now she just wants to break the record books. You see that with Roger Federer. Look at him. Amazing tennis player. Did he know when he was 17 that he was going to be the class of player that he is now? No. But he had a dream. He had a vision, and that's what he was working towards. And wow, he's regarded as one of the greatest tennis players to ever have lived. Amazing player. Novak Djokovic. I love Novak. I've got a lot of respect for him. Same thing. Did he know he was going to be a number one tennis player in the world? No. But he set a big goal, and he worked on it, and he's doing everything in his everything that he can possibly do in every area of his life to ensure that happened. Looked after his diet, his training, the way in which he created his technique. Right? He worked on every area. His mind. This is what you've got to do. You've got to work on these things, but you've also got to dream big. You hear at the end of every episode, I say, dream big, believe in you and go after your dreams. You got to dream big. Because if you dream small things happen and then you live with regret or you just fall into things. You may not even end up setting goals. I know when I set my goal of wanting to be a number one tennis player in the world, that was a big dream. Didn't know how I was going to get there and I fell way short. Because I didn't know the things that I know now, what I needed to do for that to happen, right? Areas in which I was not good at, mindset, had absolutely no idea that I needed to get my mind in check. I didn't know that was the thing that was holding me back. I didn't know that was my emotions and not being able to control my emotions. And getting way too emotional when I competed. And then the mindset thing would kick in, right? So the thoughts creates the feelings, creates the actions, creates the results. That happened over and over again. But I still had a dream. But then what happened was that because I fell way short of that dream, then I fell into things along the way. I didn't really plan anything out. I didn't set any big goals. I was like, all right, well, I'll just become a tennis coach. Went to uni, did that, got a degree, then fell into tennis coaching because I was like, well, what will I do? Well, I know about tennis, so I'll teach tennis. And then I thought, I could create a sports skills business. So I did that, created a sports skills business for kids, which worked out to be an incredible business. I worked really, really hard in building it from nothing. And it got to a point after about 5 years in the business where, I didn't have to advertise. People would come to me and ring me and say, Tiff, can you organise classes. I've got enough kids for a particular class. So work just came to me because I worked so hard. And the next stage for that was franchising, but I moved into a different area after that. And then, I learnt golf, and I was like, yeah, I could become a golfer. But a lot of it was I fell into things along the way. I didn't have a lot of big plans. After I had my big audacious goal of wanting to become the tennis player I wanted to become and fell way short, I thought that was it. I thought it was over. I thought my life was over as I knew it, in that sense of me, the tennis player that I wanted to become. But you know what? It doesn't matter how old you are. It does not matter. You want to go out there and accomplish big things because we go through different stages in our life. I lived with regret for 25 years, not achieving my sports goal, thinking that I failed me, thinking that I gave up on me, thinking I was never good enough, thinking that it was okay for me to attract the type of people that I attracted in my life in my 20s and early to mid 30s because I didn't think much of myself. So therefore I attracted these awful, controlling men into my life, and I allowed them to treat me like crap because I didn't have any respect for myself because I didn't achieve my big goals. But what happens is that we go through stages through our life, right? So our stages in our life are like, you could classify in decades. Everything changes. So in that time, in that 20 to 30 year period, all I thought was I was a failure. In that period of 30 to 40 years, I thought, I was a failure. And I didn't actually discover what was the actual problem until halfway through my 40s when I was 45. Lived with regret, right? Gave up on me. Because really, I didn't have anything that I was working towards. I didn't have a big goal anymore. My big goal finished when I was 20. 20! That's still a kid. If you're 20 now, have that big goal. Go for that big goal. Do not give up on you. Do not give up on you. You can't give up on you. I won't give up on you. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, you're going to have to figure a lot of stuff out. Yes, you're going to have to work through pain, emotional pain, frustration, physical pain. You're going to hit plateaus. All normal, right? It all happens. But I don't want you to give up on your big dreams. Don't set realistic goals. Set big, audacious goals. You have to. You owe it to yourself to do that. And you know what? If you fall short, it's okay you fall short. At least you're setting the big goals. Don't set this realistic crap. Don't be realistic. Think big, right? Think big. Go after your big goals. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter. It's what you think. It's what you believe. It's what you want. The only challenge that you'll have is to figure out how you're going to get there. But I don't want you to give up on you. I've got massive, massive goals now. Turned everything around rather than my mum was telling me when I was talking about living with regret. I had an interview on this talk show just recently, and I was talking about living with regret and how I had lived with regret for 25 years. And my niece, beautiful, God, she's a beautiful kid. She said, Auntie Tiffy was sad for 25 years. I was sad within because I didn't achieve my big goal, but I still did things. I still fell into things and accomplished some pretty amazing things, even though the goals weren't set for them. But I didn't have the big goals. I was just going through the motions, just getting through each day. Don't live like that. Don't live like that. Go after those big goals. You got to go after those big goals. You cannot give up on you. You cannot set realistic goals. You got to do the big ones. So how are you going to go after your big dreams? What are some things that you can do? Well, number one, shoot beyond the moon. Okay, so we've been to the moon. You've got, Elon Musk is working on going to Mars, right? Sir Richard Branson, they're working on their spaceships and so on. They're thinking big. They're designing the technology that's going to get way beyond the moon. So shoot beyond the moon, right? That's number one. Shoot beyond the moon. Whatever it is that you want, you go for it. You set that goal. This is what I want. I want to dream big, okay? Number two, when will you achieve it? So you got to figure out when you're going to achieve it. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be at the end of this year. It may be a few years from now. And you know what? That's okay, because there's going to be steps that you're going to have to go through to get there. I remember when I took up golf and I played off a 45 handicap, which is the highest handicap that you have as a golfer. And I was like, no, I want to play off scratch. I want to play off scratch in 2 years. That was my goal. I want to play off scratch because I don't want to be a beginner golfer. I want to be a really good playing golfer. Well, I didn't do it in 2 years. I did it in 3 years. But I still got there, right? Even though I set the goal for 2 years and I got there in the third year, I still got there. So sometimes the goals will take longer to get to. And that's okay, because that's all part of the process, and we have to go through all that learning. We have to, like an apprenticeship, we have to learn all the skills. We have to work on our mindset. We have to develop strength. We have to improve our weaker areas. There's so much that we've got to learn. Control our emotions. Everything's the same. It doesn't matter whether you're going for a big goal like I am, because I want to create No Limits Academy and impact millions of young women and girls around the world, millions, so that they're always confident. They believe in themselves. They will never let anything hold them back. They'll have no limits, right? I've got a huge, huge goal. But we've also got to set a time frame when it's going to happen. Don't say it will happen one day. One day never comes. When is it going to happen? Right? If it doesn't happen in a year, it's going to take longer to get there. That's okay. Work through those barriers and challenges that you're experiencing. It's all part of the process. You have to learn that it's part of the process. Because if you look back at when you've learnt your sport, and I look back at when, especially golf, even skiing, right? You have to learn the skills. You have to learn the technique. Then you have to learn how to manage your mindset around putting a learner's hat back on and learning something new. Then you have to learn on how to manage your emotions around it, because it's incredibly frustrating because you want it to happen yesterday. Not tomorrow, you want it to happen yesterday. So there's a lot of impatience, and you've got to learn to have that patience about you. So do not give up on that. Even if it hasn't happened in 1 year or 2 years, just keep going until you get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You're probably going, Tiff, it does matter. It doesn't. You keep going, right? You set examples of achievement, because people are going to go, wow, I really respect you. You're really going after what you want. You got to do that. Number 3, once you've set that, right, you've got your big goal, your big, audacious dream. Then you've set a time frame in which you want to achieve it. Then you just break it down into chunks. And a good way to break it down into chunks is you break it down into the years. So if you've got it might be for a year from now, then break it down into quarters, what you want to achieve in those quarters. Then you break it down into the months. What do you want to achieve in that month? Then you break it down to the weeks. What do you want to achieve in those weeks? Then you break it down into the day. What do you need to accomplish in that day that's going to give you the result that you want by the end of the week? that's going to give you the result that you want by the end of the month, that's going to give you the result that you want by the end of the quarter, gives you the result that you want by the end of the year. So number 1 again, dream big, shoot beyond the moon, okay? Number 2, time frame, when are you going to achieve it? Number 3, break it down into chunks. And number 4, this is the most important one. You got to begin today. And beginning today is starting the plan. It's doing number 1. It's going after that big dream. What is your big dream? Write it out. See it written down. Draw pictures. Cut out photos out of magazines or print things off the internet. Print images off. Create your vision. See it. You've got to see it. Because you believe it, you've got to see it. You've got to see it there visually. Most sports people are more visual. They need to see things. See it. Visualize it. And then you start putting those other things together. Number 2, when you achieve it. Number 3, break it down into chunks. And the most important, number 4, you got to start today. Get that plan out of your head. Put it on paper. If you don't know how to plan it out, I've shared plenty of episodes about that. Reach out to me. Send me an email, tiff@tiffany-mika.com, and I will help you through the process. I'm here for you. I don't want you to give up on you. Set those big dreams and go after those big dreams. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'd love it if you could share with me what you like best about what you heard today. And if you have just 30 seconds to spare, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review wherever you hear these episodes. And dream big. Dream so, so big. Go after your dreams. Believe in you and believe deep into the core that you can do this. And just do it. Do the work. Go after the dreams. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care. Talk soon. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you haven't yet downloaded the #1 deadly mistake athletes make sure you go to tiffany-mika.com and download the #1 deadly mistake athletes make. Share with me what you like best about what you heard in the comments section wherever you hear this episode. Share with your friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes. And please leave a 5-star review wherever you hear these episodes. I would really appreciate it. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Have an absolutely awesome day.